Hi guys, it's Crystal and I'm back with another book review. So today the book review is about Sin in the Second City by Karen Abbott. So I bought this book when I was in my hometown Chicago and I was just browsing through the bookstore and the title struck me. And so I picked it up and wanted to read it, and I'm here sharing my review with you guys. So let's jump right into it because I like to keep it short and sweet. So first things first, what should you do with the book? This is a book you could probably rent from the library, right? You don't have to buy it. It's not one that you have to keep in the house. It's a decent read, but you don't have to have it. It's not a staple. It's probably not one you're gonna read again. And again, I'm just keeping it honest. But I do want to share my thoughts on the book with you. So what this book is about. This book is about the Everlay brothel that was in Chicago back in the early 1900s. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with this. I grew up in Chicago, born and raised, and I had never heard of the South Loop being a red light district, like where there used to be high-end brothels. And that's what this book is about. This book is about the biggest and the baddest brothel in Chicago, right? The Magic City of Chicago in the 1900s, where admission was $50,000. The Everlay sisters were sisters who came to Chicago, and they had this idea that they wanted to build the biggest and the baddest brothel. I'm talking world-class chandeliers, gold-painted rooms, and they did. They became these madams, these untouchable madams, during that time period in Chicago. In fact, they say that that's where the term getting laid comes from, is that you've been with the Everlay girl, because it was so expensive to be with them. Really, the clientele were millionaires. So what you can expect from this book is a lot of rich history about Chicago. Again, me being born and raised there, I had never heard about any of this, but this has a lot of rich history. I mean, anybody who's who, basically anybody who got a high school named after them is in this book. Everybody from Marshall Field to Howard Taft. I mean, everybody's in this book. And that's something that I really like. So, I like to give you guys one thing I like and one thing I don't like. So what I liked about the book, again, that rich history. And also, with that being said, I like the history of women, the prostitutes, if you will, during that time, how they cared for themselves, how they cared for their bodies, how they kept their customers coming back. Really the psychology that plays into running a successful prostitution business is really amazing and impressive. And this book goes into detail about that. What I didn't like about the book is that it got really, really boring because it got really deep into the politics of Chicago. And it's just like, I don't want to hear about what went on in the city council meeting, if you will, and all the details of that and this election and that election. Although I did appreciate how it played into the bigger picture. When you pick up, the person that picks up a book titled Sin in the Second City, I want to hear the juicy stuff. Like, I'm not trying to hear, that stuff was literally like reading a legal opinion, and it got really boring because there's a lot of that in here. And for that reason, it really is what brings the book down, if you will. It's such a juicy story, it's such a good story, a rich story, but the story gets dumbed down with all the political talk. And so maybe out of a score out of 5, I'll probably give the book a 3.5, which is, again, why I said it's something, it's not a must own, but it is a good book to have at the library. And it's a good starter book. That story, the names mentioned, the backgrounds will lead you to doing more research. If you're really interested about Chicago and the history there, that's why I love the genre historical fiction, because it sparks your interest without being too mundane. So if you're really interested, this is a good starter book for putting you into the direction of some of the who's who knew who, what they were doing back then, and that's pretty cool about the book. Again, I read this book in paper format. I didn't do the audiobook version, so I can't speak to the narration, but that's pretty much it. If you guys decide to read the book, please let me know how you enjoyed it or did not enjoy it, and always send me any book recommendations. Thank you for watching.